Hey everybody, I'm Josh, and this is the weekly update for Redeeming Grace Church. It is March 29th of 2021, and this is Easter week. So this is the week that Christians across the country and around the world set aside to give special emphasis to the final week of Jesus' life, and particularly his suffering and death on the cross for sinners, for sin, and the resurrection of Jesus that seals the deal, that makes the whole thing go. And so this is a week where we, in solidarity with Christians around the world and down through the centuries, just reflect especially on the work of Christ on the cross and his resurrection. And so I encourage you to take some time this week to just reflect deeply on the horrors and the glories of the work of Christ and what it really took to bring you into a relationship with God, to deal with your sin and bring you into a saving relationship with God. What we're going to do this week as a church is pretty simple. We're going to have a Good Friday service at 7 p.m. at the Journey Museum, and we're just going to reflect on the cross. So we're going to sing some songs that highlight the suffering of Jesus on the cross and the meaning of that. And we're going to read the crucifixion story from Mark 14 and 15. We're going to read a large chunk of scripture and just feel the weightiness of this eyewitness account of the crucifixion of Jesus. And I'm going to give a short homily on how Jesus became a curse on the cross for us and some of the significance of that. And it's going to be short. It's about 45 minutes, no childcare, just a time for us to meditate on the cross. And really the aim of this service is for us to just sit in the weightiness of Good Friday, of the crucifixion. And frankly, we want to walk out of there just a bit sombered and sobered by the magnitude and the horror of the cross. And the reason we want to do that is we kind of want to put ourselves in the shoes of those eyewitnesses and just feel the weightiness of what has just happened right in front of them. And to also personally just sense the weightiness of our own sin and the cost that Christ paid for us. And then what that does is that leads to the glorious joy of the resurrection. So Good Friday is to be a weighty, somber time of reflection, and then leading into the glorious resurrection day on Sunday. So we want to just walk through that intellectually, biblically, spiritually, and emotionally. Just feel the weightiness of those of Good Friday into Easter. And we have an Easter service that's at 10:30 a.m. on Sunday. It'll be very much like our normal service. We'll just continue as we go, but we'll highlight the resurrection for sure in our service. And hope that you'll be a part of it, and hope that maybe you'll take advantage of some of the openness that's sometimes there during Easter week for people who aren't normally in church to come check out church. So extend an invitation to somebody to come. You never know how that might be used in their life to totally transform them because they are encountering and come to faith in Jesus Christ. So a couple things I just want to highlight is just that these are the gifts that we give on our furniture delivery ministries. And so Krista Crook has done a good job of putting together this attractive gift with our mug, and it has my business card, a handwritten note, some candy in there, and there's a couple of tokens to Fork Real Cafe, so someone can go get a couple of free meals on us. And this is just a way of just saying, hey, there's a church that cares, and they're right over here, and we would love to have you come hang out with us. So it's a really cool gift, and we use these on our furniture delivery ministries. But if there are other outreach ideas that you have that maybe this would be a great tool or instrument to use to give away, hey, we would love to use them in whatever way that we can. So just want to let you know those exist. Also, these water bottles are cool. We've got a bunch of them. You can see them on the shelves behind me, and these are just for anybody that would want them. We give these away at our Next Steps lunch to those who are kind of taking the next step into the life of our church. We just thank them by giving them a gift and saying, hey, we're glad that you're here. And if you would like a water bottle, they're right up here, and I would be happy to just give you one, and just something to carry around. And as you see it, you can you can think about the church, you can pray for the church. That's one of the values of putting your logo on things, is that it just brings it to mind. That's just kind of how we are as creatures. And sometimes people see the logo out there, and eventually you just never know when they're going to see it at the right time, and God might use it to draw them to our church. We've also got these blue hats, just a simple trucker hat. They're comfortable. I like them. I think they look good. It's just got our logo on it. So we have lots of those. If you're a hat person, you can have one of those. We've got t-shirts. We've got a black t-shirts. These are really comfortable. It's a soft fabric. Just got our church on the front. My kids love wearing these. They wear them all the time and get asked about them a lot. just as they wear them around. We've got also a polo. We've got men's and women's sizes on polos. Sometimes you'll see me wear these on Sunday. Just a little bit more kind of nicer shirt, and we've got a bunch of them right here. That's what's stacked up right here is all of these. And if that would be something that you would wear, we'd love to let you have it. And then one thing that maybe none of you have seen before is that we've got these notebooks that have kind of a world map behind them and then our logo on them, and they're just a notebook. So if you're a journaler or prayer requests or sermon notes, I have a bunch of these. And if that would help you just be mindful of our church or be useful to you in some way, let me know and I'll give you one of those for sure. And so that any of this stuff is available to you. A way to promote our church, a way to just remind one another to pray for our church, and there it is. You've got it. One last thing I want to talk about, well, I guess two more things. One is that you can find out what's going on in the life of our church by going to rgcrc.org, and you click on events. There's also redeeminggrace.info, which you can now you can go there and you can download our app, or you can just see what's on the app via website. And would encourage you to check that out. I've updated it, so it's got more kind of features in the app now, and you can check that out and make use of those things. Another thing is that I have made my schedule available now, rgcrc.org/meet-with-Josh. And what you can do is you can go on there and you can just pick any time that you want. My calendar's on there. It's synced with my Google Calendar, and so it just shows my availability to meet. And so you're always welcome to text me, but sometimes it's just easier to direct people to a calendar and just say, hey, pick a date that works for you, and I'll be there. So I just want to make myself as available to you as I can, and you can look in there and you can see that there's a lot of availability. I am working all the time. You might look at it and go, does he ever work? Well, yeah, I'm working. It's just that I can move things around and be available to me. So I just encourage you that if you'd like to get together, that's an easy way to schedule with me and a whole lot easier for me to manage. So, and this thing's wobbling and distracting me. One last thing is that I want us to go, we've been going through our the 9 distinctives of our church. We've looked at compelling exposition. We've looked at meaningful membership. We've looked at relentless prayer. And today I just want to share just a few words about the 4th one, which is compassionate service. And what we mean by that is that we want to be a people that individually and together don't look to be served, but to serve as Jesus has served us, which comes from Matthew chapter 20. Jesus said, in terms of like how people relate to each other, he says, you know that the rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and their great ones exercise authority over them. It shall not be so among you, for whoever would be great among you must be your servant, and whoever would be first among you must be your slave, even as the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve and give his life as a ransom for many. So here he's calling his disciples to follow him. And Jesus, as we're thinking about during this Easter week, Jesus did not come to be served, but to serve and give his life as a ransom for many. And he's calling those who want to be great in the kingdom, those who want to follow him, must also do the same, must have this disposition of not looking to be served, but to serve, and even to give of their lives and their resources for others. John 13, Jesus, right before he's about to go to the cross, gathers his disciples together. And this is unheard of. The rabbi actually gets down on his hands and knees and begins washing the feet of the disciples. This is unheard of. This is not done. And here's what Jesus then says. He says, when he had washed their feet and put out his outer garments and resumed his place, he said to them, do you understand what I have done to you? You call me teacher and Lord, and you are right, for so I am. If I then, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I have given you an example that you are to do just as I have done. Truly, truly, I say to you, a servant is not greater than his master, nor is a messenger greater than the one who sent him. If you know these things, blessed are you if you do them. And so the call of Jesus is to follow him in doing the uncomfortable, dirty, undesirable thing out of love for one another, because we are not greater than our master, and the more dignified thing to do is to serve. And so we want to be like Jesus in our church. And so what this means is for our Sunday mornings, we need to come with a disposition of looking to minister. We need to look for ways that we can serve. Church is way more fun when you come looking for ways that you can build up the body. If you're coming simply to look for a spiritual pick-me-up, if you're looking just simply for what you can get out of it, you're going to be, it's going to get boring. Church really comes alive when you come because you want to glorify God and serve your brothers and sisters. When you leave church, not critiquing what you liked and didn't like, but having conversations about who you encouraged and what you heard and how you prayed for someone. That's really where church gets fun. And I would encourage all of us to be like Jesus in that we come to church not to critique or to see what we can get out of it, but how we can contribute in the Spirit to the overall life of the church, and how we measure a Sunday morning by how much we've been able to minister and not whether or not we liked it or it was our style. So the way that looks is we're going to have to start setting up and tearing down every Sunday morning. And so we're going to need people that show up early, willing to just do the simple task of setting up and tearing things down and staying late afterwards to do that. We need people who are willing to serve with kids. We've got, I'm just telling you that if you want to love me well, treat my kids well. And so we need more people that are willing to love kids well and serve them and do kind of behind the scenes things to give up their own time of being able to be in the worship service to go make sure that others can be in the worship service and that kids are well cared for. So those are two big ones. We also, there's task-driven things like that. There's also relational things like greeters who just intuitively think through, do people have what they need? Does that new person know that these Genesis journals are free to them? Do they know where the restrooms are? Has anyone said hi to them? And those are all really, really important things. So I would encourage you to think through the first 5 minutes after we dismiss from church, to not go talk to your friends and the people you know right away, but to give the first 5 minutes when the service dismisses to going to someone you don't know yet and welcoming them and getting to know them. Just doing that, if man, even half of us did that, just made a beeline past our friends and the people we normally talk to people we don't, our church would become so warm and inviting, and it would mean a lot to people. Your friends will still be there 5 minutes later probably, and you can still connect with them. But spend that first 5 minutes looking for someone. And another thing that would really be a great service on Sunday morning is making every conversation a prayer. So you engage someone, find out how they're doing during the week, and then offer to just and then offer a 30-second prayer, either thanking God for the good things that happened, or praying about the things that are tough and asking God to intervene and give grace or provision or healing or whatever. If that is an excellent way to serve people. Praying for people on the spot is such a blessing to people. It's such a wonderful way to serve. And so there's other ways to serve as well. Our furniture delivery teams, there's stuff that needs to happen here in the ministry center. Even just reaching out to one another, inviting someone over for lunch or dinner, going out to lunch after church with someone. There are so many ways that we can serve, and we are so like our Savior when we're serving. That's what Jesus says. The reason I came was not to be served, but to serve and give my life as a ransom for many. And now those who follow Christ are infiltrating all throughout the week, and they're with the same disposition of looking to serve in such a way that it looks like Jesus. And in a world that is all about me and my convenience and self-centeredness and what I want, and I need to speak to the manager, all of those kinds of attitudes have created a culture where service like Jesus really sticks out and really creates opportunities for gospel conversations. So a Christ-like disposition in all areas of life, looking to steward whatever you have in service towards others, even our enemies, even our opponents, looking to serve them, is so Christ-like and so much light in the darkness that people will take note, and there will be opportunities, if we have eyes to see, to share the good news with people. So compassionate service builds up the body of Christ, and it also creates platforms for reaching the lost. May we be a church that is passionate and compassionate in our service towards other people. So I hope you have a great week. Think about the service of Christ for you. Think of ways that you can steward what you have in service to others for the sake of building up the body, for the sake of reaching the lost. And I hope to see you Good Friday. Hope to see you next Sunday for our Easter service. And God bless you. I'll catch you soon.